We are the Force. We are San Diego.
Welcome back to Arizona and the desert, where we continue Cactus League baseball. The San Diego Padres are at home at Peoria Sports Complex to take on the Chicago Cubs. Day baseball from Peoria. We welcome you inside Peoria Stadium, everybody. Don Orsillo along with Mark Sweeney. Welcome to Padres baseball. We've talked a lot about the outfield competition, the infield competition. There's one guy who is in the mix for both, and that's Jose Pirela, who today gets a start in left field.
Don, after last year's performance, I think you always talk about the energy that he brings, but also swinging the bat. He hits the ball to all fields. He's produced this spring training along with last year, so Andy Green and the organization know what they're getting offensively. He brings that energy level, that dynamic that you have to have. He's going to get opportunities. That being said, I think when it comes down to how he can handle the outfield and infield play. When you talk about that, it really comes down to how he handles second base. Last year, we saw improvements in left field. He gets his 8th start today in left field, but second base is going to add some of those at-bats that I think Andy Green would love to have.
It's been impressive, and as you saw, the .481 average so far during the spring, and as you mentioned, he's in left field today. When we come back, Bob Scanlon will check in on the rotation for the starters. It's interesting, and it's heating up. We're in the middle of March right now, and we don't really know yet. We'll find out more the very latest when we come back on Fox Sports San Diego. Cubs and Padres, but first, let's send it down to the field and Bob Scanlon.
Well, thank you, Don. A month ago, when the pitchers and catchers first reported here to spring training, there were only 2 certainties in the starting rotation: Clayton Richard and Brian Mitchell. The rest was up for grabs, including the spots held last year by Luis Perdomo and Dinelson Lamet. Now, today, Andy announced that Lamet had indeed retained his spot, but that still leaves 2 spots open for a battle, and here are the top candidates for you. You see Luis Perdomo in there. He's had some moments of brilliance, but he's also had his struggles, hence the 2.50 earned run average. Tyson Ross been outstanding, 4 scoreless innings in his last effort, as was the case with Chris Young, who's also been throwing the ball great. Robbie Erlin yesterday, 2 solid innings, then 3 home runs in the third, a question mark, and then Jordan Lyles. You see the numbers right there, 7 earned runs, including 5 in his last outing against the Cubs. So there are 2 spots still open. The competition is fierce. Here's what Andy had to say.
I think it's still open competition. Clayton's obviously in the rotation. Dinelson Lamet and Brian Mitchell probably have the real leg up on guys. And then those 2 spots they're there and they're available. I mean, it's getting tight now. You got guys are going 5 innings, so you can't even get that into a 9-inning game. So, like, we still have 11 guys that are technically in camp, competing to be starters. So I'd expect that to be whittled down in the next couple of days.
You heard it. The innings are getting tight. And keep in mind, there's 2 other candidates as well. The youngsters, Eric Lauer and Joey Lucchese, have also been doing outstanding this spring. But are the Padres ready to call them up? That remains to be seen. But they continue to put the pressure on. A very important outing today for Jordan Lyles. He'll be going up against the Cubs. He faced them last time. It'll be the Padres, Cubs, Cactus League Baseball. Coming up next, right here on Fox Sports San Diego.
And Mark Sweeney, as well as Bob Scanlon, with you today as the Padres continue their spring training schedule here at the Cactus League on a beautiful day in Arizona. Lots of sunshine and some clouds above, but lots of sunshine here today. The Cubs in town as we check out the visiting Chicago Cubs starting 9. It is Albert Almora Jr. who is in center field, leading it off with Chris Bryant at third base, Anthony Rizzo at first base, Wilson Contreras doing the catching, Mike Freeman is at shortstop with Chris Jimenez, the DH, batting 6th. Peter Borges is in right field 7th. David Bodie at second base bats 8th, and Ryan Court is the left fielder for Chicago today. They're playing a split squad. Also have a night game tonight, and that's where Joe Madden is. On the mound today for the Padres, getting a start, is Jordan Lyles in his 2nd straight against the Cubs.
Yeah, gave up 5 runs against the Cubs his last time out, so he has another opportunity against that same club.
Let's check out the Padres defensively today behind Jordan Lyles.
Well, possibly could be a projected opening day roster, and you see Jose Perella, his 8th start in left field, Manny Margot in center, Will Myers in right. On the left side of the infield is Chase Headley at third, Freddie Galvis at short, and Carlos Asuaje at second. Eric Hosmer at first base. Austin Hedges catches Jordan Lyles.
Well, for Lyles, as you mentioned, last time out against the Cubs, had a 1-2-3 first inning against Chicago for Andy Green. Then things turned very badly in the second inning, but he gave up 5 runs in that next inning, and that chased him from the game. So he is trying to bounce back here today, but again, it's against the Cubs. And Almora Jr. about to stand in to get it started. Jordan Lyles, 27-year-old, deals with the first pitch of the ball game, and that's in there for strike 1. 81 degrees at game time here, and we've seen a lot of breeze at the ballpark here in Peoria. Not so much today. Almora lines it into left field for a base hit. Had a quiet spring, hitting at just 143, but a fast start to today.
Oh, you look at fastball command for Jordan Lyles today. Wanting it outside, he elevates it. And Almora drills it to left.
Lyles last year 1-3 with a 9.39 earned run average in 5 starts for the Padres. That's after coming over from the Rockies, where he began the year all out of the pen. 33 appearances and was 0-2. ERA in the high 6s.
Well, as Bob Scanlon touched on earlier, he is in the mix for that 4th and 5th spot in the roster, in the rotation. So that consistency has to be there, and that's exactly what Andy Green would like to see.
Now Chris Bryant off to a .294 start during the spring. No homers, no runs batted in so far for him during the spring. About 4 of the regulars here today for the Cubs. Elevating, and Bryant chasing at high heat.
Now for the Cubs to get back where they need to be, especially that World Series year, MVP year for Chris Bryant. He had a down year last year, not really consistent, never got hot for a long stretch. But they're definitely going to need his bat.
This will get away all the way back to the backstop, and to second base goes Almora Jr. Wild pitch charge to Lyles.
It looked like a breaking ball just got out of the hands, and you can see Austin Hedges going down, ricocheting off to the backstop.
So more into scoring position with nobody out, and Bryant ahead in the count here, 3-1. Yeah, that's outside for ball 4. So Bryant down to first base. I imagine, Mark Sweeney, that Jordan Lyles today feeling a lot of pressure. I know this is just March the 13th, but there's a battle going on for the rotation. There's a battle for the pen, and right now he knows how important each one of these starts are for him.
It's really individualized. When you think of spring training, how every individual mentally can handle their opportunity. And for Jordan Lyles, to your point, he understands after that last start that he had against the Cubs, not finishing what he started, this is what he has to do. He has to show signs of how he can get out of this situation, even in the first.
This one bounced in again. It looked like a breaking ball that cut off short.
The tough thing, sorry, Don, the tough thing when you watch Jordan Lyles, it's almost like watching an everyday player take batting practice. It's so impressive in the bullpen sessions. How you transfer that into game situations is really the next step he has to take. It's not the consistency factor that you see, but when you watch a bullpen from him, it is lights out. So to me, that really comes into the mentality of what you have and what you're trying to go against. You have to be locked in, and that's what you have to show. It's mound presence. It's how you handle certain situations when you get behind in counts. That's what we're going to look for Jordan Lyles today.
And really the results here on the mound much more important than the results you have during a bullpen session. And now he's all over the place.
Yeah, and you can see the frustration too, even after not locating that fastball. Fastball command always has a priority when it's come down to spring training, and your secondary stuff works off of that. If you're behind, then you have to make sure that ball's on the plate. Advantage goes to the hitter.
Now Rizzo swings at the 3-0 and grounds one to second base. Could be two. Suaje to second for one. On to first, it is two. That worked out great, and boy, did Lyles need that. Rizzo swinging at a 3-0 pitch and grounding into the 4-6-3 twin killing.
Oh, this is tailor-made. This is so good. You see the fastball away. He tries to pull it. Tailor-made for Suaje and Freddie Galvis.
It's fun to watch Galvis get around the bag at second base.
Now watch the drills this morning in the backfields when they were going over those. Freddie Galvis has a calmness that you're just going to absolutely fall in love with.
And of course, the Padres rotation, great many guys, a lot of ground ball pitchers, and that should bode well, having better defense really in the infield for the Padres.
This morning, for example, Andy Green hits him a bullet to start the drills off, and he just casually puts his glove up and just flips it into his hand. And the exchange was just so impressive. But that's what you're getting. You're getting a playful attitude, but also a guy that knows how to play the position at shortstop. And I think the Padre fans know how important that is. They haven't seen that consistency at that position for a long time.
Wilson Contreras batting here is Galvis about halfway between second and third right now defensively. Runner at third, two down. And now still trying to find that strike zone. Ball's behind here, 2-1. It would be something to get out of this inning without giving up a run. Certainly go a long way for Lyles' confidence. Well, of course, the new rules this year, only 6 mound visits, and Wilson Contreras, one of the guys who came out right away and was against the rule, to say the least, among catchers in big league baseball.
Yeah, you think about this situation here. Jordan Lyles not, syncing up with Austin Hedges. This is a time where you'd see a guy go out there do that early in the game. You don't want to do that.
So one car foul down the right field line, out of play.
But you're right, Wilson Contreras, he wore out a path back and forth, and sometimes you'd see John Lester like, okay, get out of here. I don't want to see you.
He is part of the problem, I think, and that's probably why he took offense to this new rule.
We could probably say it's a Contreras rule.
Yes.
And get away with that.
And backing out is Contreras. Full count, 2 down, and more at third base for the Cubs here in the top of the first inning. And a soft liner to second base. Suaje closes the glove, and out of the inning is Jordan Lyles. Padres are coming up from Peoria. First inning, Don Orsillo and Mark Sweeney with you today from Peoria, Arizona, where the Cubs are here to take on Andy Green's Padres. Let's check out Andy's starting 9 today. Manuel Margot is in center field leading it off. Chase Headley at third base with Will Myers in right. Eric Hosmer at first with Jose Perella in left. Hunter Renfroe, the DH. Freddie Galvis at shortstop. Already seen him defensively today. Austin Hedges doing the catching, and Carlos Suaje made the final out of the top of the first inning at second base, and today they'll deal with Mike Montgomery.
A lot of people don't realize Mike Montgomery was on the mound as they won the World Series 2 years ago for the final out. One of those guys that's a swing man. You see the numbers, 130 innings last year, so he had opportunities.
Had 44 total games for him a year ago, 14 starts. And he was 7 and 8 under 500 individually for the Cubs, a .338 earned run average. And Manuel Margot leading it off today. He'll take strike one. And a relatively quiet spring for Manny so far, 188 average.
Yeah, and that's something of a concern. And when you think about that, it's the consistency at the end of spring training. You'd like to see those at bats and start to get a little bit of that energy. But as we've talked on previous broadcasts, there's a comfort level to Manny Margot that he has in this camp rather than last year.
Now, he knows he belongs, and he is a big leaguer coming into this camp. And, of course, last year, there was some conversation early in spring training that he may start the year at AAA last year. And certainly that's not the case this year.
Well, I mean, multi-hit games last year and his opportunities that after going through that injury a couple months into the season, he started showing that consistency defensively, but also offensively. I just love his approach. Top of the order, he can occasionally hit the ball out of the ballpark. He can slash it to all fields and really use that speed.
On the ground by the mound and by the dive with Freeman, the shortstop, into center field. Margot will take a wide turn. He retraces his steps back to the bag at first. Base hit starts this bottom of the first inning.
Well, as the numbers start creeping up, you're going to start seeing Manny Margot start locking in. And two-strike hitting work in the middle of the field. Just a nice approach by the leadoff hitter.
So Margot aboard here at first base to begin things in the bottom of the first. He'll be held on by Anthony Rizzo, and here is Chase Headley. 4 seasons in New York with the Yankees for Headley before returning here to San Diego. And last year, 147 games with the Yankees, 12 homers, 61 runs driven in. On the ground towards second, and Bodie will try to start it to second for 1, on to first for 2.
Let's take a look at the Cubs defense from left to right. Ryan Corton left. Albert Almora Jr. in center field. Peter Borges, longtime major leaguer, in right field. Chris Bryant at third base. Mike Freeman is at shortstop. David Bodie, who started that double play, is at second base. Anthony Rizzo, big first baseman. And then Wilson Contreras is catching Mike Montgomery.
So 2 down here in the first inning, brings up Will Myers. Will's had a good spring, hitting at .367 during the spring. It's after a .243 average last year, although he did have 30 home runs and 74 RBIs. Last year for Montgomery, his first full season with Chicago. And he makes quick work of Myers, strikes him out looking. First K from Montgomery is out number 3 of the first, scoreless after 1.
couple of roster moves announced today by the Padres. Finally, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Luis Urias sent down to minor league camp. I say finally because they lasted a lot longer than most people would have anticipated, but there was reason for that. You see the batting averages, 281, 286. They handled themselves so well. This coaching staff and front office, frankly, just wanted to continue to see more. Before the ball game yesterday, they were told it was going to be their last game. They played the entire game. And it's not often, guys, that prospects exceed expectations, but that's exactly what happened with both of these players, especially with Tatis Jr. and his base running, according to Andy. So a lot of good signs about the future, guys.
Yeah, I don't think either expected to be on the opening day roster coming in, but I think that Andy Green and the coaching staff love what they saw from those two guys, Scans.
Well,
yeah, no question about it. And again, it was one of those things where you bring him into camp and you hear a lot about him, but you don't know what to expect. And everything they did just continued to impress, not only with the physical talent, but also with their demeanor, their presence, how they handled themselves. I think that was as impressive as anything to guys.
I think, Bob, that's where you have to touch on, too. And I think it's a great point, because when you watch how they carried themselves, I think that's the impressive part. We always say about mound presence with some pitchers. Well, everyday players, they have to carry themselves like they are big leaguers. That being said, Andy Green touched on it. There's adjustments that they have to both make to have that consistency at the big league level. That's really the important part.
Eric Hosmer spending a good bit of time with both those guys when they're here, too. And they got a feel for what it's like to be a big leaguer here during the spring.
I think strategically, the organization placed those guys. Chase Headley was a part of that. Freddie Galvis was a big part of that. That's the change, in my opinion, when you're thinking about how this spring training has been constructed. There's consistency with the approach and having veteran guys around some of their younger talent. And I think it's brilliant when it comes down to the organization's philosophy coming into this camp.
Put A.J. Ellis in that conversation as well, as one of the veterans who has really helped out here in the early going. None bigger than that guy, though. Eric Hosmer has been tremendous here. There's a swing and a miss for Jimenez, and that evens the count at 2-2. Lyles trying to have a less eventful second inning than the first, although he got out of it unscathed. His 25th pitch of his outing coming up with one down. And an elevated fastball strikes out Jimenez. First K of the day for Lyles. And there are 2 outs in the inning. 95 on the fastball from Jordan Lyles.
Well, get out of the first inning, and that was a breath of fresh air. You see a different exuberance from Jordan Lyles in this second inning. You saw that fastball climbing the ladder.
2 down for Peter Borges. Last season with Tampa Bay, got into 100 games. Lines this one to right center, and it'll fall for a hit in front of Margot. And a 2-out base hit for Peter Borges. Guy's got pretty good speed.
Well known for his defense and, like you touched on, Don, his speed. Just lines this to center field. That first pitch fastball, you can't miss that.
So aboard at first with 2 down, and brings up David Bodie. Mentioned the Cubs have a split squad today. They're playing under the lights tonight. Bodie playing at Double-A last year. And this one gets away from Hedges. No advance for Borges. Didn't get far enough away.
Well, David Bodie added to the roster this year, and he's come into camp 4th in hits with 14. Also scored 9 runs. It's good showing in his first camp.
Yeah, he's had a chance to play quite a bit. Played against the Padres when the Padres were on the road against the Cubs this spring. There's that fastball again at 95, and this time he misses with it. 2-0.
Well, good time to run, because you're thinking about he has to throw a strike. So you watch this situation here. This is when guys start trying to implement their game.
Got him picked off at first, and Hosmer applied the tag. It looked like he was going. But instead, Lyles picks off Borges at first base. He was just frozen over there as Hosmer applies the tag and ends the top of the second inning. That's a lead. Scoreless after
Petco Park, the Terrace VIP Box is the latest luxury seating option. Relax in your private space with fully cushioned seats and don't miss a minute of the action with in-seat service. Located behind home plate, these are available for nightly rentals or for season ticket membership. More info at Padres.com/premium.
Well, Eric Hosmer leading it off here in the home half of the second inning. Hosmer, Perella, and Renfroe scheduled to bat in the inning. And Chris Bryant, third baseman, takes off from third over to the right side of the infield as part of a shift now for the Cubs that is now employed with just the one strike. They started about straight up.
Now you wonder if that was a situation where they forgot at the beginning of the at-bat.
It's odd, 0-1.
It sure is. I haven't seen that.
I've seen 0-2. Yeah, it was almost like, oops,
yeah,
this is Hosmer.
With the game tonight that the Cubs have, Joe Madden has not made the trip. Brandon Hyde is the acting manager today, along with Brian Butterfield, longtime third base coach.
This one fouled off down by the shoe tops, and it's 2-2. Joe Madden beginning his fourth season as the manager of the Cubs. 292 regular season wins, and of course the World Series championship in his first 3 years. It's amazing he'd been in Tampa Bay for 9 years. 4 postseason appearances in those 9 years in Tampa.
Including a World Series opportunity against the Philadelphia Phillies. So he had that resume. I think it was a really good signing by the Chicago Cubs and something they needed to have because it was all coinciding where that talent was coming. The big signing of John Lester.
On the ground to first, Rizzo will flip to the covering pitcher Montgomery for the first out here of the second inning. Hosmer retired. So one away, and that'll bring up Jose Perella. We talked about his defense and the fact that he has played left field and second base and in the mix for both positions, really, but he's having a heck of a spring. 481 during the spring offensively.
It's really where his bat carries him, and as you've touched on earlier, he has improved in left field. That being said, if he improves at second base, get some more bats at second base, coupled with Carlos Asuaje or probably Corey Spangenberg, that right-handed complement at second base, I just think they can deepen their lineup a little bit more. Good changeup by Montgomery.
He looked to last year, 288 average for Perella, but you can make the argument that he was the most consistent hitter Padres had all year.
I thought so. It's coupled with the energy that he brings, and it does not rest because he is like that all the time. And I think that's infectious. And why I say about energy, there's certain guys that really can't play that way. But Jose Perella, remember Yangervis Solarte, who went to Toronto. Those are the guys that you need energy from because it's a long and lengthy season. That energy rubs off on guys. And I think Jose Perella was a perfect complement for that lineup last year.
On the ground, sharply hit, but right to Freeman. And Perella is out number 2 of the second inning. Well, the left field situation is interesting. Of course, you have Perella, who was there most of the year last year, but now you have Hunter Renfroe moving from right to left and trying to get acclimated to left field. It's amazing, Swains, and I'd get your take on it, but it sounds like for most guys that left field is the toughest position really of the outfielders to get used to, I guess, because of the slice.
I think so. There's more slices off that left-handed bat. See a lot of guys, especially left on left. They'll come in and it poses a problem. It's the shortest throw out there, so I think a lot of people think of it as you're going to be able to throw people out a little bit easier. You have a stronger arm and right. It really comes down to the angles and how you're able to play that. So there are adjustments to make. But when you think about it, it really comes down to it. I have to have a consistency in every position. I think the organization would love to have that. But if they don't have that and they can platoon, they're going to be stronger when it comes down to matchups for Andy Green.
Today not playing defensively. Renfroe is the DH. And this is the way spring has been going here, that the National League teams, when they play each other, are still using a DH during the spring to get those extra at-bats.
Yeah, I like that because at the end of into the spring training, you'll start seeing teams that will incorporate their pitchers to try to take some at-bats.
Back up the middle and into center field. 2-out single for Hunter Renfroe. Second hit of the day for San Diego.
Hunter continues to pound the left-handers, and that's going to be his calling card. Like to make some adjustments against right-handed pitching, but you can see that power stroke, the way he uses his energy through the ground, just extends that barrel through the baseball very nicely.
So 2 down, Renfroe at first, and it brings up Freddie Galvis as the Padres attempt to extend this inning. Galvis has had a great spring, not only defensively but offensively, hitting at .400 in his first spring training in a Padres uniform, coming over from the Philadelphia Phillies. And run 3 RBIs to go along with that .400 average. Well, generally March 13th is not that deep into spring, but got to remember game started the 23rd, so I mean it has been a while here.
I think this is the grind. I mean, from the everyday perspective, everyday player, you always ask and say, how things going? The off day is needed tomorrow. They have 2 off days, which I think is going to be good for the San Diego Padres, just to kind of get away from the game, because this is when the drills start getting a little lengthy, start realizing the games are longer, the energy's not there that you typically get in a regular season game. But for a lot of guys fighting for positions, it is a different personality that you have to bring to the ballpark individually.
By this stage, as a position player, have you had enough of spring training?
No, I never felt that, because I wasn't that type of player. But I think, yes, the guys that know they're going to be on the club, they're just hoping they can get through healthy and energized.
To left field, where Ryan Court is out there waiting. Battles the sun, but makes the catch. That was an adventure, but he pulls it in to end the inning. We play 2 without a score. Top half of the 3rd inning. Great to have with us the bench coach, the San Diego Padres, Mark McGuire. Mark, how you doing?
Doing all right. Trying to pick this thing up after yesterday's Wago. 12 o'clock start. We're back home at what, 2:30.
This was a quick one yesterday.
Oh, I know. It wasn't good.
How's the spring been for you so far?
It's been good. I love the competition. Just a lot of nice talent. Got a chance to see a bunch of the young kids. I saw the future of the San Diego Padres, and it was really cool.
You know, Mark, and we touched on it earlier, sending Fernando Tatis Jr., Luis Urias down, how they showed very well, but also the way they carried themselves. Speak to your impressions of it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, just to get your feet wet to come up here in spring training, to think about when I was 19 years old, I was in college, and they're in big league camp, and just to be around the guys up here, to watch Freddie work and to work with them every day, and to be around Haas and Headley, and it's really cool to see these young kids just flourish. Then we saw their youth too, and but that's what this game's all about. It's all about learning and understanding and taking the punches as they go.
Yeah, to be very excited about what you've seen here from the spring. Not only those two guys, but so many pitching prospects as well. It seems like the system is extremely deep.
It's so exciting here. It's just Andy, I mean, it's really cool to see the talent coming up and the talent waiting in the wings for Andy to maneuver with. It's just probably one of the smartest guys I've ever been around in baseball, and being next to him for this is my third year. It's just it's phenomenal. I just can't wait for it to see it flourish.
I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, a different role for you here as a bench coach. How has that been for you, and looking at the game as a manager now, really?
Well, I really enjoy it. I mean, being on the hitting side and watching the hitters all the time, you sort of take a break, like at this time when the team's out and playing defense. But now you get to watch both sides of the game, and to learn from Andy. Andy's just a master at defense and placement and watching certain things, and it's just really cool. Being in my third year and just maturing as a bench coach and listening and watching.
Mark, I think when you talk about maturing, sometimes when you tackle a new position or something new, it always speeds up a little bit. Has it slowed down for you, and how have you really slowed that game down? I'm pretty good at slowing the game down. It does get a little quick here come about fifth or sixth inning when I have to go down and try to find the guys that don't have the names on their back and stuff like that. But that's the fun part. We're starting to eliminate that, and we're getting down to the nitty gritty here, where we're gonna come to the final cuts in the next 10 or 12 days or something like that. So. As you said, we sent a couple of good young ones out today, and but it's just one of those things. I love what I'm doing right now. I love learning. I love challenging myself. I go in the cage a little bit. I try to stay away, but I'll watch a lot of video. I'll let Wash and Maddie do their job, and. We collaborate a lot. We talk about it a lot, but they're the hitting coaches, and I let them do their thing. I listen to Darren and Doug all the time about the pitching, and I love learning about that stuff. And it's really cool. I'm very, very happy that he asked me to do what I'm doing right now.
I wanted to ask you about Matt Stairs. Of course, it looks like there has been a difference so far during the spring. It seems like these at-bats are going on longer. They're better pitches. I mean, it seems a different philosophy, perhaps.
Well, yeah. I mean, Matt's good. I mean, we got to play together back in the 90s, and it was really cool. I mean, he's just no nonsense. He knows how to hit. He's been around. He's done pretty much everything as a player. He knows what it takes to be a professional out here. He knows what it takes to work a count. And it's working right now. Now, obviously, we come the first part of the season, and we'll see if it carries over, but I think it will. It's just, Matt's really good, and him and Wash together are just fantastic. The collaboration they have in the video room, in the cage, and sit back and watch, and how they talk, and how these hitters are really grasping on what they have to say.
This one headed towards the gap in left center field. It'll get down to the track and the wall. It'll score Bodie from third base, and this RBI double has given the Cubs a 1-0 lead.
Mark, I want to touch on the leadership when it comes down to how you mold some younger players, what you've been through in your career, and somebody that led you in the right direction. But now you're starting to see this Padre club with young talent being able to sign a guy like Eric Hosmer, have Chase Headley there. How important is that for the maturation process?
Well, I truly believe it's huge. I mean, I had some really good ones in the day, and Carney Lansford, Dave Henderson, Ricky Henderson, Don Baylor, and Dave Parker, and Dave Stewart, Dennis Eckerson. I mean, those are pretty good names right there just to watch. And I think leadership is built on watching and watching what a veteran does and how he goes about the game, and how when he, you know, if he's a hitter, how he gets out of the box and busts his butt every time down the line, and tried to turn a single into a double, and just do those little extra things. And it carries over the years, and you remember those things. And you know, it's just we needed that, and we have it. We got a couple of really good ones in here, and Chase and Eric, and you know, Freddie's been really good with the young kids up the middle. I know Freddie didn't have a lot of years in, but he's been around for a while, and just the way he's going about his work is just fantastic.
Well, Mark, we really appreciate you coming on with us. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, Mac.
Right.
Okay.
Mark McGuire joining us from the Padres dugout. No pitch in the dirt, gets away from Hedges, and to third base goes Almora Jr. I'll tell you, I've been around Mark McGuire the last couple of years. One thing you can say is this guy loves the game of baseball.
Loves it.
Unbelievable.
I walked into the clubhouse, and we don't spend a lot of time in there because it's their space, but he is there talking with A.J. Ellis, the potential backup catcher behind Austin Hedges, and just trying to get to know him, but they were just having an in-depth conversation, and I felt awkward. I was there. I wanted to get out of the way because that's so important. But the reason why I say it is it's important for Mark McGuire to tap into these guys' personalities. As a bench coach, you have to have the pulse of the club. It's not necessarily your club. Andy Green's going to direct it. But Mark McGuire really has that calmness that's very good as a bench coach. And he is passionate about his job.
Yes.
It came to fruition there, even when we're talking to him. He has aspirations to possibly even manage in this game of baseball.
Shift onto the infield here. A little different look, and this one fouled back to the screen on Bryant. 3 on the left side. With Asuaje, the second baseman, joining Freddie Galvis, the shortstop, and Chase Headley at third base. And they're in tight with the runner at third. So not only are they shifting on the left side, but it's almost to the grass.
Let's see if he goes back to that off-speed stuff. He's been spiking a lot of it. Looks like they're going fastball in.
In on the hands and got a piece of the bat.
Well, I think with Chris Bryant, he's shown the propensity of climbing the ladder. He'll get out of the strike zone even with 2 strikes.
A walk in the first inning for Bryant, the only free pass served up by Jordan Lyles. And that's ball 4 downstairs. That was the second walk allowed by Lyles, and both to Chris Bryant. So first and third now with 1 out of the inning, and that'll bring up Anthony Rizzo.
It seems like that off-speed stuff has been easy takes for these Cub hitters today. Maybe they're seeing it out of the hands early. That was a 3-2 changeup. Chris Bryant saw it right out of the hand.
So 45 pitches for Lyles through 2 1/3 innings. And in the heart of this Cubs order with Anthony Rizzo standing in, and swung at a 3-0 pitch last time and grounded into a double play. Rizzo, of course, in a controversial play last year with Austin Hedges and the collision at the plate in Chicago.
I think that still bothers me.
This one is in the air to left field. Perella staggering, but will make the catch. Plenty deep enough for the runner at third. Now Mora to tag up and score. The second Cubs run of the day. And Chicago on top 2-0 on the sac fly off the bat of Anthony Rizzo. What bothers you, the slide or the no retaliation by the Padres?
Yes.
Sure. That part of it, all of it. The whole package.
It really was the slide. And I think it had a lot to do with just the way he went about it. And I don't think he's a malicious player. I'm not saying that. I thought the situation itself really wasn't handled very well on that side of it. I don't like where you're trying to go out of your way when you had a sliding lane. And that's what really came down to it.
Fly ball headed out towards deep center field off the bat of Contreras. Back goes Margot at the wall, and that ball is gone. Straight away center field. 2-run shot for Wilson Contreras, his second home run of the spring, and the Cubs jump on top 4-0. Right off the batter's eye in center field.
Last year, Wilson Contreras really took the next step. He's actually hitting fourth in the lineup a lot. He knew it was gone right off the bat. Yes, the ball travels a lot, but this goes high off the batter's eye. Talented catching prospect turned into a budding superstar.
Well, for Lyles, the trouble inning last time out was the second inning against the Cubs, in which he gave up 5 runs. Here in the third, he's been touched for 4 runs. Now Mike Freeman, who bounced out to Carlos Eswaje at second base in the second inning, jumps ahead here 2-0. Freeman, the 7th Cub to bat here in the third inning, and ahead 3-0. Also swinging 3-0 as Rizzo did a couple of innings ago. 3-1 now to Freeman. There's action in the pen for the Padres. Adam Simbers had a very good spring for San Diego. Evens up, full count. Nick Simber has been one of the surprises for Andy Green during the spring.
Yeah, they talked about his glove side command even into left-handed hitters from that sidearm action. And he has made that adjustment. I think really that when you think of a theme that's been impressive is the arms and the length that they could have this bullpen.
There's strike 3, and Freeman knew it. Takes with him the second strikeout for Lyles. With the damage done, Cubs take a 4-0 lead.
Whoa, Nelly. Yes, big bacon belly. Onion lassos, can you rank?
Part of the Padres opening series weekend, all fans in attendance for the game against the Brewers on Saturday, March 31st will receive a fleece blanket presented by Sequan Casino. Grab your tickets at Padres.com.
Beautiful day to be on the berm today. A lot of Cubs fans here making their way over to Peoria. And the clouds have kind of taken over up top here for the moment. Kind of a hazy sunshine day, and 81 degrees to get the ball game started. And it's on to the last of the third inning. Big inning for the Cubs. They score 4 times in the top of the inning. Now Austin Hedges and the Padres go to work here in the bottom of the third. 316, 4 homers, 6 runs batted in 9 games during the spring. And his first 4 home runs came in the first 4 games that Austin appeared in, coming off a season in which he had 18 during the regular season. They have made a change in his approach at the plate. Well, he strikes out this time. Pitch down and away, second strikeout for Montgomery.
Well, Montgomery has good feel for that changeup and also good arm speed.
So one down here in the third inning and bring up Carlos Asuaje. He's had a great spring battling for the second base job with, of course, Spangenberg and Perella as well. A .344 average for him, and he sends this one to deep left field, back at the wall, and that ball is gone. Asuaje with an opposite field shot, and he hits his second home run of the spring and continues on this torrid pace, trying to reclaim the second base job. Carlos Asuaje with a home run.
Well, the fight is real at second base, and you know why. Corey Spangenberg has also put his name in the hat. But Carlos Asuaje, his second home run, the first one was pulled. This one to the opposite field. That's what impresses me. We haven't seen too much of that, especially with the home run power to left.
Into shallow right, and Borges coming in to make the catch with David Bodie alongside. 2 down. Asuaje showing some power. That's the Padres on the board. Cubs on top 4-1 with 2 down here in the third inning. And that'll bring up Chase Headley. Some tough decisions coming up here for Andy Green.
Yeah, and I like that. It's not going to be uneasing time for a lot of these guys that are on the bubble. But it's a good thing for the organization to have those tough choices. Also a surplus of talent.
Headley bounced into a 4-6-3 double play in the first inning.
A lot of changeups from Mike Montgomery today, especially from the second inning and now into the third.
37 pitches deep into his outing through 2 2/3 innings. And he fools Headley badly for strike 3. Contreras will apply the tag. Third strikeout for Montgomery. A home run for Carlos Asuaje. Gets the Padres on the board. He goes Oppo. 4-1 Cubs at the end of 3 from Peoria. Cubs have a 4-1 lead. The pitching change for the Padres. Jordan Lyles departing after 3 innings, responsible for the 4 runs on 5 hits that the Cubs have. And Matt Strahm into the game. 24 games, 3 starts, a 2-5 record with Kansas City, a 5.54 ERA. And of course, he was acquired by the Padres along with Travis Wood in exchange for Ryan Buchter and Trevor Cahill and Brandon Maurer in that trade of a lot of the Padres bullpen last year. This one lined to left, and coming in was Perella. A bad read out of the gate. He thought it was hit a little better than it was. Went back initially, but then comes in and with a smile on his face makes the catch for out number 1.
That was coming in hot.
So 1 away, and it brings up Peter Borges. See, Matt Strom is 26 years old. He's from West Fargo, North Dakota. I did not know there was a Wells Fargo, North Dakota. Sorry. I don't know. It says he was born in West Fargo, North Dakota, and resides in Wells Fargo, North Dakota. How many Fargos are there in North Dakota?
I don't know, but Wells Fargo, isn't that a bank?
It is. So I don't know if it's a misprint or not.
You can take it to the bank. Matt Strom is that left-hander you want.
I will tell you this. He is from North Dakota. It's back up the middle into center field. And Borges is 2 for 2, his second single of the day. So 1-on-1 on, and David Bodie coming up.
Oh, for Matt Strom, fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup has the full complement of pitches. And why I say that, he's that swing man. He has the ability to start, which I think the Padres would eventually like him to start. And he also has the ability to pitch out of the bullpen, which he has done already.
Last year, splitting the year between Omaha and Kansas City. Underwent surgery on his torn left patella tendon and was acquired on July 24th by the Padres. But we saw him right after the surgery, and he was like a cast up to his hip at that point.
Yeah, and you're wondering how that offseason was going to be, and I'm sure he feels like he's a little bit behind, but had the ability to watch his bullpen sessions as well, and they've been very impressive. Why I say that is it looks like he's healthy. Now, that being said, moving off the mound, how he handles his position and how they can build him up where possibly he can get some starts in the big leagues.
Pretty big at 6'3", listed only at 185 pounds. Working in the big leagues in 2016, making his major league debut with the Royals on July 31st at Texas. And make 21 relief appearances during his rookie campaign for Kansas City. Check swing, throw down to second base on the steal attempt, and it is in time to get the speedy Peter Borges. And even talking about some of the adjustments that Austin Hedges made, trying to throw out runners at second base.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. A lot of times you hear pop time, and that's the exchange from when he throws it to when it's delivered to second base. See that quick tag by Asuaje, and they got him right there on that right hip. Maybe even down near the ankle. The transfer is what they're trying to adjust Austin Hedges with. He's trying to evolve in that position. This is his specialty, but what it comes down to, he wants to get his hand to the glove rather than the glove to the hand. It's the exchange, because you remember last year at times, Austin Hedges would fumble the ball at times, and it's that exchange. If you think about what he's trying to do, it's that glove and taking the hand to the glove. There he brings the glove back to his hand, much what he did last year. What they would like to do, and I'm going to do it left-handed, is when he's receiving the ball to be able to take that other hand and get to the ball where he gets that grip. Then as it is the exchange coming back up here and having that rifle arm. He has the pop time, one of the best in the game, but it's the adjustments he's going to make. I think it's going to add to his consistency, and there's going to be guys where they're not going to decide to run on Austin Hedges because he's accurate. He has the ability to get the ball out of his hands, but the consistency factor has to be worked on.
So a better transfer would equal quicker time to second base.
And that's scary. When you think about it, Yadier Molina comes to mind. Obviously, there's other catchers that possess a very good arm. But if you can shut a running game down, they're just going to take limited opportunities. That's a benefit for your defense.
How hard is it for him to make that kind of adjustment at this stage of his major league career?
You want to do it here in spring training. So it really comes down to Justin Hatcher is the catching guy that really comes into play when it's Austin Hedges. That discussion is just comfort level, because he's going to revert back to what he's used to. but the amount of times you get to do with reps down here and transferring into the game. His last start against the Giants threw out 2 base runners. Today, you see the gun to second base.
I guess the more success he has, the better chances that he does not revert to the way that he was before.
Yeah, and I think it's going to take some time. And obviously you saw that's his last exchange last year. It's really going to come down to being able to adjust your hand. If you get to the ball earlier, you're going to be able to have a better grip on the ball.
Ryan Court batting here with 2 down. David Bodie at first base. Cubs batting in the 4th on top 4-1. Matt Strom taking over for Jordan Lyles, who went the first 3 innings allowing 4 runs. Walked 2, struck out 2. So full count now. Bodie will get a start at first base. And that's strike 3. Got him looking. Good pitch, about knee high. 4-1 Cubs after 3.5. No, it has been a different experience for Will Myers, and I think it will be during the course of the year. Having Hosmer hitting right next to him during the course of the season should change some things for Will as well. But it's like, just looking at him, a lot of the pressure I think Will had on his shoulders over the last year plus sort of gone. It's different now for Will Myers.
I do. I agree with you with that, and just how he carries himself. He has a fun-loving nature to the game of baseball. Last year, I think everything was thrown on his shoulders, and at times I think he showed that outwardly. It's not necessarily it's a bad thing. Asking someone to be the face of your franchise because you sign a big contract is not fair when it comes down to being that leader. That's the reason why I think it's going to help a Will Myers to be able to set himself. He's taking on another position that he's familiar with, but it's a new position and a new thought process to go about himself and how he carries himself on a daily basis.
He seemed to put a lot of that pressure on himself, and you could really see it in his at-bats late in the season. He's kind of thrown away some at-bats at times, it looked like, almost like he had been defeated in some ways.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and you always revert back to instances that I've seen in my career, and why I say this. Ozzie Smith was a leader in St. Louis, and Brian Jordan was a guy that had to assume that leadership quality after Ozzie Smith left. I don't think it was fair for Brian Jordan.
That's tough.
He had the mentality to be the leader, but everyone was almost saying, well, Brian Jordan's going to take that over. I think you earned that. And sometimes it felt like Will Myers didn't really like that challenge.
Chops it off the plate towards third. Chris Bryant on the tough hop. Will throw out Myers. And the first out here of the fourth inning. Now to bring up Eric Hosmer. Hosmer grounding out in the second inning. He is 0 for 1.
I think leaders are organically grown within an organization. Why Eric Hosmer comes with that resume? Because he had the opportunity to grow up with the Kansas City Royals and become that leader. But it takes, obviously, the ability on the field, how you carry yourself, how you present yourself, putting up numbers for credibility, but then being consistent and being there for the guy from on your right and left.
You talk about resume and team resume, really, and a guy who has been to 2 World Series, won a World Series, has the ring. And somebody that Will knew, of course, in the minor leagues, and Eric Hosmer crossing paths in the Royals system. On the ground, shift on, right side of the infield, and it is Hosmer for out number 2. Has grounded out twice in this game. 2 down in the fourth inning. Brings up Jose Perella. Perella grounding to shortstop Mike Freeman in his last plate appearance. Center fielder Albert Almora Jr. over towards right center. They play for Perella to go the other way. He's hit a pair of home runs during the spring. Look at the outfield alignment right now. No shift in the infield. Well, Montgomery working here with 2 down in the fourth inning, about to throw his 50th pitch of the day.
There's all kinds of things we just loved about Jose Perella, but it was also the in-game adjustments that we saw last year as well. Montgomery previously got him with off-speed pitches.
There's a liner to center and a base hit for Perella. Take a wide turn at first and hold on with a 2-out base hit.
Well, in-game adjustments. This looks like a changeup that's elevated. A lot of them have been down where they've seen a lot of swing and miss from the Padres. This one's elevated, and Perella just absolutely drills this line drive to center field. That's the adjustments that you want to make from at bat to at bat.
So on board with 2 away here in the fourth inning, and brings up Hunter Renfroe. Renfroe with a single to center field in the second. As one of 4 Padres hits on the day. Renfroe now, and if the inning continues, Ferdy Galvis waiting on deck here with the Padres batting in the last of the fourth. Big inning for the Cubs today. Their 3rd inning, 4 runs, and all of them coming off the Padres starter today, Jordan Lyles. As Renfroe finds himself down 1-2. Was 26 home runs a year ago for Renfroe, and that's with spending a month, a little better than a month, at AAA in El Paso.
Yeah, the power's definitely there.
In the air down the left field line towards the corner, and that ball is going to be off the wall. Ryan Court's going to play it as Perella trying to score all the way from first. Throw will be close, and he will be safe. In at second base is Renfroe, and Perella getting in on a good slide. And the Padres pick up their second run. It's now 4-2 Cubs.
Well, the 2 strikes, and you see Hunter Renfroe keeping that barrel inside that baseball. See Jose Perella with 2 outs. You gotta get on your horse. Great slide in that eludes the tag. Jose Perella, we talk about energy, but also running those pillows. A nice slide in. A big run for the Padres.
Well, Montgomery was going to try to get through the 4th inning today, but this run put together by the Padres will chase him from the game here in the 4th inning with 2 down. So that is the day for Montgomery. Pitching change from Peoria. It's now Cubs 4, Padres 2. Inning with a couple of outs, and Dario Alvarez comes into the game now for Chicago. Signed a 1-year major league deal with the Cubs in November this past offseason. 6-1 with 6 holds in 48 innings pitched. 56 major league relief outings between the Mets, Braves, and Rangers in his major league time, and last year with the Rangers in 20 games, 2.76. Trying to be part of the Cubs pen, and comes in with a runner at second and 2 down. That runner is Hunter Renfroe as Freddie Galvis stands in for the 2nd time today. Galvis 0 for 1. Flied out to the left fielder Ryan Court in the 2nd inning. Snap throw to second base, and that almost ended up in center field. Nice play there by David Bodie, second baseman, coming in to play it on a hop.
Well, you got to be aware Contreras absolutely loves throwing behind runners. Very aggressive. You can see him coming out of the chute. Freddie Galvis might have had something to do with that throw, because he falls over the plate area. And I thought these Padre hitters made a very good adjustments against Mike Montgomery. Had success early in the game with his off-speed pitches, and when he tired, he started elevating those. I think Perella and Renfroe capitalized on that. See, Matt Stairs, the new hitting coach for the Padres, got to be pleased with the effort.
To me, that's one of the toughest jobs going as far as coaches go in Major League Baseball. There is never going to be a time where all 9 of your hitters every day are all going good.
Yeah.
You leave the ballpark and there's going to be at least somebody every day. You got to try to figure out how you're going to fix tomorrow.
Yeah, you're always grinding. I think it comes with the territory, and they're not going to make excuses for it, especially Matt Stairs. If you spend the time with him, one of the most positive guys, and that's the reason why he's in the position he is. But you're right, it's very difficult, because if you're dealing with 13, maybe 14 hitters, there's always going to be one that's struggling, and that's your thought process, how I can get him out of that and be another set of eyes and be there for him. So it's a tough job.
I guess the focus is really not going to be on the guys that are going good.
Yeah.
It's more on the guys that are going bad you're trying to fix.
Because these guys aren't the ones that are patting themselves on the back because an Eric Hosmer's going off or Jose Perella's doing well. It's how I can change and make adjustments.
Alvis goes around and strikes out to end the inning. Padres do get a run back, throw through 4. It's 4-2 Chicago. The Cubs had jumped out to a 4-0 lead with 4 in the top of the third, but single runs in the third and fourth, and Padres are inching closer here in Peoria. There's a lot of blue and red out there on that berm. Cubs fans traveling incredibly well.
They travel well, and you think about the first part of the season for the Chicago Cubs. They have 10 road games, 4 in Miami, 2 in Cincinnati, and then 4 in Milwaukee. The good thing is it's April, but there's indoor games, which I think is pretty important. The Cincinnati ones, those might be a little dicey.
Albert Almora Jr. leading it off for the Cubs here in the 5th inning.
I don't remember starting the season off on a 10-game road trip.
That's tough.
Very difficult.
More Matt Strom back on the mound again. He was able to pitch in the 4th, back out there for the 5th. Almora, Bryant, and Rizzo expected in the inning. That was 95 from Strom, so he's got the mid-90s in him.
Mid-90s velocity. I think he works both sides of the plate. Comfort level really comes down to the glove side.
Tough part of the order here that he is dealing with for the Cubs in the 5th. A good test. And a fly ball headed out towards right center. Margot on the run, and he'll get there. Can't tell you how many times we saw that last year where you look up, it appears to be a gapper, and out of nowhere, Manny Margot will run it down back by the warning track.
Yeah, because Manny had that first step here, and he's gliding to this baseball. And Will Myers taking a nice look and seeing Manny. He's usually seeing him from first base, but now right next to him, it's like, man, you know what? I could start playing the lines a little bit.
Now Strom is going to leave this game after facing one batter in the 5th inning. It's like Adam Simber is going to be coming in. It's 4-2 Cubs. Pitching change from Peoria. the 5th inning. Check in on some news and notes around Major League Baseball. The Cubs no longer with Jake Arrieta. Introduced by the Philadelphia Phillies to a 3-year, $75 million contract. And Neil Walker is signing a 1-year deal for $5 million with the Yankees. And we'll see Chase Anderson on opening day, named the opening day starter for the Brewers against the Padres. The Padres have not yet announced their opening day starter, but it looks to be Clayton Richard by all indications. And if you are to do some quick math between now and then and his starts, he lines up for opening day.
I think that's what we do and try to project that. And it wouldn't surprise me if Clayton Richard took on that responsibility. As for going against Chase Anderson, last year had a very good start to the season, almost that definite all-star, and then went through a ribcage injury that set him back for a long time. And I think that was the change. Jimmy Nelson also got hurt for the Brewers, who had a tremendous year. So that's going to be a good start to the season for the Padres.
Yeah, last year the Brewers were a surprise. This year they're expected to do some things with their additions.
Yeah, they've really bolstered their offense.
Shift on the left side, and Galvis diving from one knee. His throw is going to be close, but not in time. Nice bid by Freddie Galvis, but Chris Bryant beats it out.
Padre fans, get used to this. Watch the athleticism from Freddie Galvis in the shift, and you can see being able to throw from that right knee. I thought he had an opportunity. Maybe they would have grabbed the headsets on this one, because the athletic ability and the strength of the arm obviously upset. I thought he had him.
I'm amazed by how much he got on that throw from one knee. So 1 out, 1 on. And here is Anthony Rizzo. They were shifting on Bryant on the left side. Now they're shifting on the right side. But first a check on Bryant. Rizzo has bounced into a double play, and last time up hit a sacrifice fly. Simber, the sidewinder, into the ball game here. Third arm used today for Andy Green.
Well, what it does, and I think the dynamic of the bullpen has changed for the Padres. We are going to see Makita most likely in this game as well, which is another dynamic that comes. But that sidearm action, and especially for the glove side for Simber, if he can make that adjustment, make it uncomfortable for these left-handed hitters to dive out and try to go get that sinker away. That's his go-to pitch.
27-year-old from Portland, Oregon. AA and AAA last year in the Padres organization. Still pitching in big league camp. He has pitched well enough to continue here to March the 13th.
And he touched on it in his press conference this morning that there's 4 or 5 guys that have earned their way to extend themselves in big league camp.
Rizzo gets jammed and flips it foul down the left field line. And he said there'd been some surprises for him. If you had asked him February 15th about some of the guys would still be here that are not, and some that are still here surprising him and continuing to get a chance to work here is Adam Simber. 12 games at AA San Antonio, 37 at AAA El Paso. Attended the University of Washington, where he twice made the second team all Pac-10, Pac-12 academic roster. Always mess up this hometown, but Puyallup, which is the hometown of John Lester. That's where John Lester went to high school too, and that's where Simber went. That's one fouled off to the left out of play.
I'm still wrapping my head around an academic team. I mean, how do you do that?
I don't know. You're not part of the academic team at Maine?
No chance. And I had an opportunity, but no. I mean, academic team.
Yeah.
My parents would have passed out if they heard that.
So a foul back screen. How were your grades at the University of Maine?
I was a late bloomer when it came down to grades.
So not very good, I guess.
I would say at University of Maine, better than my high school years. I was locked into sports way too much. And I tend to procrastinate a little bit.
It worked out all right for you. That's good. Swing and a miss, and Rizzo strikes out. A strikeout for Simberson's coming in. Now, Brian Butterfield is here, the third base coach for the Cubs, a tremendous coach. I think one of the best coaches. As here's Wilson Contreras, he homered earlier in the game. 2-run shot. Second home run of the spring, and at the time put the Cubs on top 4-0. Yeah, Brian Butterfield, third base coach here for the Cubs. His dad was the Maine head coach for a long time, right? Where you went?
Big part of the University of Maine up there was his dad, as you said. But as soon as you got into the athletic programs, you knew about Brian Butterfield's dad. It's a huge influence, and those are the guys you need. They mold your future. They mold what that university is all about. So Brian Butterfield, one of the well-respected third base coaches in the game of baseball.
In there for strike 2.
I think Adam Simber was brought in for a reason here. He's been challenged to a big situation. Facing Anthony Rizzo, tough left-handed hitter, and then also Contreras, who went deep his last at bat.
Elevates, and this one fouled off down the right field line, out of play.
You think about how you evaluate certain pitchers, situations down here. Well, this is one right here for Andy Green and also Darren Balsley, the pitching coach.
Now, as a hitter, after you've been watching guys come over the top, how different is it to make the adjustment against a sidewinder?
Well, picking up release point is so important. So as you go further in the at-bat, I think Contreras is getting a little bit at ease when it comes to picking up that release point. And you start getting that fastball located in on your hands. Now he's sped him up a little bit. See if he goes off speed to try to get that big punch out and the inning.
On the ground towards the end of the bat, as Suaje will throw out Contreras and end the top of the 5th inning. Halfway through, the Cubs have a 4-2 lead over the Padres.
Fifth inning in Peoria, and I'm joined right now by Matt Strom. Matt, thanks for joining us. Congratulations. A nice inning and a third of scoreless inning work. How'd you feel out there?
Thank you. Everything felt good, and it was good to get that up-down under my belt.
Yeah, well, now you mentioned the up-down. That's working out of the bullpen, getting up, getting loose. So you've worked out of the bullpen as a starter, mostly out of the bullpen in the big leagues. Do you have a preference?
I do not. I just whatever they need, I'll do, and it's been that way ever since. I mean, baseball's baseball, so.
As long as you're in the big leagues, you're happy, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, it looked like you really had good fastball command today. How'd you feel with that?
Yeah, everything felt good. Balls has been working with me to just glove side down. And as soon as I get that clicking in the bullpen before the game, I feel like I can put it wherever I want with that fastball. So focused on that before entering the game, and I had it with me today.
You know, you've got a deep repertoire of pitches. As a starter, you get a chance to use them all. Out of the bullpen, do you have to reel a couple of those in, or do you still try to get all the work in on everything?
I mean, everything's still available out of the bullpen, but obviously you want to make quick work, and maybe if you can keep something in your back pocket for when you get in a situation, that's nice. But worked everything today. I don't think I actually had to throw a curveball, but I want to get out and use all my pitches and just get comfortable with them all.
That's such a unique situation for you last year. Obviously, 16, you dominated in the bullpen for Kansas City. Came out last year, continued that domination, and then all of a sudden you leap up for a ball and you blow out your patellar tendon. How frustrating was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously no one wants to end their season with an injury, especially a torn patella or something as serious as that. But, I mean, it's something I got to take day by day, and that's what we're doing here. So.
And obviously, you're feeling good enough to pitch. Is it an endurance thing at this point?
Yeah, obviously, so it was, long story short, haven't been able to run much this offseason with the patella, but been changing workouts to do more cardiovascular stuff, and that's been kind of the focus here in spring training, is just to get my legs under me, and that, like we said earlier, that up-down, that's kind of when I sit down, just to be able to get back up and have my legs under me still.
And you had a chance to be with Eric Hosmer over in Kansas City. Your thoughts when you saw that the Padres were signing him up and bringing him over here?
Oh, I was ecstatic. My wife woke me from a dead sleep, and I couldn't go back to bed. I was so happy. It's great to have him here, and I mean, he's a great clubhouse presence as well as a player.
Matt, keep up the great work. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. No problem.
Matt Strom getting it done today, guys. Back up to you.
All right, thanks very much, Ken. Appreciate it. Nice outing for him today. Good to get that under his belt, and as you mentioned, the up-down part of it, a big part.
Yeah, and you think about extending him and how long they're going to extend the Padres. I think they're going to take a passive approach to him, maybe build up his innings. But he has the ability to start. I think he has the stuff to start. We've heard Andy Green, the manager of the Padres, speak very highly of his ability to do that. And that being said, Bob talked about how well he did out of the bullpen a couple years ago. And that's a trait that I think you're seeing around baseball, those hybrid guys that have the ability to start and relieve.
Popped up left side of the infield. Trent Gimbrone, the third baseman, gives way to Freeman, the shortstop. And as the first out here at the bottom of the fifth inning, Chris Bryant coming out of the game. So Freeman makes the grab on Hedges for the first out here of the fifth, and that'll bring up Carlos Asuaje. So Matt Strom getting that outing out of the way and looking good. You're right. I don't think there really is a rush really to get him. I mean, he's going to take his time after coming off a pretty serious injury.
Yeah, and I think that's the glowing weakness when you think about injuries and how you come back from that. He looks perfectly healthy now, but it's the wear and tear and just getting those up and downs and feeling how you feel the next day. But he looked very impressive today, even though the Cubs hitters squared him up a couple times. I thought he looked comfortable with all of his pitches. Didn't use the curveball, but the changeup, the slider was there. I thought the fastball command to his glove side was pretty good.
As you mentioned, something he's working on with Darren Balsley. Went an inning in the third. A hit, no runs, walked a batter, and struck out a batter in relief of Jordan Lyles today. Asuaje takes strike two. Homered opposite field in the third inning. His second home run of the spring. 10th RBI for the Padres second baseman. Starter today for the Cubs, Mike Montgomery, went 3 2/3 on 5 hits, and he was charged with 2 runs. Didn't walk anybody and struck out 3, and Dario Alvarez has been in since. Alvarez getting the final out of the 4th and the first out so far here of the 5th inning. Swahe now, Margot waiting on deck. Padres batting here in the last of the 5th inning. To center and falling fast. Another base hit for Swahe. He's 2 for 2 on the afternoon.
Both of the hits come off left-handers, which you're constantly hearing about platooning. Well, Carlos Swahe understands he can handle left-handed pitching. You might pick some spots to give him days off here, but he handles the strike zone so well. That's what you fall in love with.
One out, one on, and Manuel Margot will take strike one. His 3rd plate appearance of the day. Single to center in the 1st inning. Flied out to right field in the 3rd inning. Throw to first, and back is Swahe. His lead was not terribly large. Still had to dive back, though. Cubs infield is double play depth with one away here in the 5th. There's a strike, right back at it. Tried to work that outside corner initially. That is 1-2 to Margot. Christian Villanueva has come out on deck. He took over defensively at 3rd base for Chase Headley an inning ago, and now would bat for the first time today. Margot into right field, out of the reach of Cornelius at first base. Heading for 3rd, Swahe. Throw will go to 2nd, but not before Margot is into 2nd base with a double. 2nd and 3rd with one away for the Padres.
So much to love about the game of Manny Margot. 2 strikes and takes the ball the other way. It's elevated. A lot easier for you to go the other way past the diving effort of the first baseman and into 2nd base. Speed and the hitting ability. I think he's taken it to another level.
So 2nd and 3rd with one out. Here is Christian Villanueva. Had a cut on his forearm after slipping a couple of days ago and missed a couple of days. Strike called, and Contreras hopping up like he was going to fire to 3rd. Grabbed the attention of the Swahe, who got back to the bag at 3rd quickly. Padres mindful of Contreras's throwing to any base at any time. Not afraid. 0-2, and Villanueva off balance cut right there.
Yeah, and those plays usually are put on by the catcher. They have a sign, whether they grab their shin guard, maybe grab their face mask before the play. But with Chris Bryant out of the game, I wouldn't think that the backup infielder would be on the same page.
Line to left field, and that's going to get in for a base hit in front of court. From 3rd comes Swahe. He will score, and it's a 1-run game now. Christian Villanueva with an RBI single to left field makes it 4-3 Cubs. Here come the Padres in the 5th inning.
Well, all these Padre hitters making adjustments with 2 strikes. See again, 2 strikes and a bad breaking ball. Villanueva continues to pound the baseball with that RBI single.
So Margot took 3rd on the RBI single by Villanueva. 1st and 3rd with one out, and Will Myers, it's his 3rd at bat of the day. Myers struck out looking in the 1st inning. Grounded out to 3rd base in the 4th inning. Snap throw to 1st, and just back is Villanueva. Contreras can watch Villanueva grab his lead down there. No left-handed hitter right now. He's got an open front door. Myers on the ground, a deep shortstop. Freeman will go to second. They get the out there. Run scores, and this game is tied. Margot in the back door from third ties it up 4-4. They do get the runner in Villanueva at second base, and that was close. I think during the regular season, they want to take another look at that one, but not during spring training.
The shortstop goes to his right, and that was a little dicey. You have to maintain almost like a first baseman to get that out.
Myers picks up an RBI on the play, reaching on a fielder's choice. It's 4-4. And now Eric Hosmer. Dario Alvarez about to throw his 30th pitch of relief. Hosmer 0 for 2 today, grounding out to first base and to second base. Twice going to the right side, and now with a strike again, they go into the shift here with 1 strike on Hosmer.
Well, maybe we were wrong earlier.
Guess they do know what they're doing here. 1 strike, and they're going to go into the shift. It's not that they forgot.
Like we said.
What do we know?
I can't even put you in it. I actually said that.
No, but I agreed with you, so we're in the same boat. Yeah, I was on board with the Sweenology. Yeah. A little bit away to Hosmer. Padres trailed 4-0 after 2.5 innings, but single run in the third, a single run in the fourth, and 2 so far here in the 5th inning to tie this game 4-4. Hosmer ahead 3-1. Myers held on to first base by Kevin Cornelius. Took over for Anthony Rizzo defensively. Center field. Now to right center for Borges, who steps in front of the center fielder Hanneman out there to make the catch that ends the inning. 2 more runs for the Padres. Game tied 4-4.
Saying around you, so it's got to be difficult for sure, you know, but you know, it's our job to kind of make him feel comfortable here, and you know, he's part of our team, so we got to do whatever we can do to make him feel at home here.
You know, he's definitely working on it. You can tell he's learning new words every day. He tells me good morning every morning when I walk in, so it's been pretty cool. I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty neat the rest of the year.
Those are some of the bullpen mates of Kazuhisa Makita, who's entering the ball game. And you guys, it was interesting. They said, you know, even though the language barrier is there, they can really tell that he's making an effort to be a part of this team, making the effort to connect with guys. And I asked him, as he taught any of you guys how to throw that 50-mile-an-hour slow curveball? They said not yet. They've been messing around with it a little bit, but it's been fun to be able to talk to him. Hey, pitching is pitching, whether you're in Japan or the United States, and they're doing everything they can to make him feel comfortable here, guys.
All right, thanks very much. Here he is, Makita. He's been fun to watch so far, and it is Mike Freeman who leads it off. A lot of times you'll see the sidewinders or submarine guys be down around the ankles. This guy pitches up in the zone, a little different.
Yeah, you wonder where he got that from. And I did a little research today and asked some people about how that evolved. He was a shortstop and a pitcher in 10th grade. And he was a 3/4 release as a pitcher and really wasn't pitching very well. And shortstops, as you come across the bag for 2, you see him drop down and be able to throw. Well, his first pitch down there when he went sidearm after he was asked to do that in 10th grade was a strike. He maintained that and became that guy. 58 miles an hour. That's going to buckle some guys when it comes down to it. But I thought it was interesting how that sidearm delivery really evolved.
Here's strike 3. One down here in the 6th inning. Makita able to get Freeman one away in the 6th. And it's going to be interesting, especially first time around here for Makita in a Padres uniform.
Yeah, being able to add and subtract, give them different looks, and he's going to tie a lot of right-handed hitters in knots.
He's 33. Signed as a major league free agent by the Padres first week of January. Jimenez got a piece of that on his bat for strike 1.
You know, Don, I think a lot of people think of a sidearmer as really commanding the ball with movement down in the strike zone. Makita has the ability to really upshoot that fastball that gives a lot of guys some fits. Not necessarily this is slow one. 53 miles an hour on that.
So now you come back with what, an 81-mile-an-hour fastball, and it looks like it's 99.
Yeah.
It's like 30 miles per hour difference between pitches. And the swings that guys take on the 81-mile-an-hour fastball, it's like he is throwing 99.
Yeah, they kind of elevate here. I think pitching at the top of the strike zone is really going to be location for Makita.
That was 79 with the gas. 2-2. Strike 3. Jimenez walks away shaking his head. Back-to-back strikeouts for Makita. 2 down.
Looks like a little tight little slider at the bottom of the strike zone. Nice job by Hedgie sticking that at the bottom. Think about Makita too, and I don't think a lot of fans realize this. This is a guy that both started as a reliever and a successful reliever, because in 2 tournaments for the WBC, he was the closer for Team Japan.
Peter Borges, 2 for 2 in the ball game, both singles to center field. Getting his first look at Makita. 4-time All-Star in Japan was Makita. As you mentioned, served as the closer for a bronze medal winning Japan team in the World Baseball Classic, both 2013 and 2017. On the ground to short. Freddie Galvis still in the game. Throws across and ends the inning. Another good inning of relief for Makita. He's fun to watch. Game tied 4-4 from Peoria.
Score is 4-4, and the Padres offer a series of week-long summer baseball camps. Open to boys and girls 5 through 12. Campers get exceptional instruction along with a unique major league experience. Camps are offered in 7 locations throughout San Diego from June through August. Learn more or register for your future Padre at padres.com/camps.
Now the Padres have erased a 4-run deficit to tie the score 4-4 here as we play along to the bottom of the 6th inning. A lot of youngsters enjoying Padres baseball today from Peoria Sports Complex. Jose Pirela is going to lead it off against the new Cubs pitcher, Rob Zastrinski, into the game. 4 games without a record, 7 walks, 11 Ks. Appeared 12 games in the last 2 seasons with the Cubs. Was a 2nd-round pick by Chicago in 2013. It's actually the first Cubs pitcher drafted under Theo Epstein to make the majors since taking over as president of baseball operations. Off the end of the bat, spun out towards the shortstop, Freeman. Sidearm toss in time to retire Pirela.
How about Kazuhisa Makita?
Impressive.
Adding and subtracting, being able to come in and give different looks. That is going to be fun to watch.
Andy Green keeping him away from the National League West entirely during the spring.
Yeah, I like that, and that's not, unheard of before. Remember Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling, they didn't like to get starts against the NL West teams because you see so much of each other during the season. I like that because it's a different look. You want them to be surprised about that first at bat, being able to see a release point like that.
Renfroe today, 2 for 2 with an RBI single in the 2nd inning, a double to drive in a run in the 4th inning. Evens up at 2-2. Some changes for the Cubs. Cavante Mitchell now in right field. Chesney Young is at short, and Ali Solis now doing the catching. 2-2, grounded softly towards third. Gimbron on the run. His throw is just in time to get Hunter Renfroe. Nice play. Just did get Renfroe for out number 2 here, the 6th inning. Not hit hard and a tough play for Gimbron coming in.
Gimbron, you see, playing deep, especially with that power bat. He comes in on the run, and the strong arm just barely beats him. It's the play that you got to make, but really comes down to the speed of the runner. Renfroe hustling down that line.
2 down for Freddie Galvis. His 3rd plate appearance of the day. Flied out to left and struck out swinging. In the air to left center field. It is Hanneman coming from center. Court from left, but it'll be Hanneman in center field who handles the final out of the 6th inning. To the 7th we go, tied 4-4 in Peoria.
Welcome back to the desert in Arizona, where the score is tied 4-4. Cactus League schedule continues for the Padres and Cubs as we head to the 7th inning. And Robert Stock, the new pitcher for the Padres, becomes the 5th arm of the day, used by Andy Green. 9-5 record, 41 games last year between A-ball and Double-A. And he is one of those guys that I think has surprised Andy Green, and still in here in Major League camp and still getting a chance to perform.
Yeah, might be one of those 4 or 5 guys that he's talking about that's earned that opportunity. Has a lot to do with the velocity.
From Bellevue, Washington, 28 years old. David Bodie standing in for the Cubs.
Robert Stock, one of those catchers turned into a pitcher. You see so much of it, and all the Angel fans out there might think of one guy that he reminds me of.
One hopper sharply hit out to Aswahe. Nice pick. A lot of time to throw, and does, with Alan Craig on the stretch. One down here in the 7th inning. As mentioned it, professional career started as a catcher at age 14. Became the youngest player to make USA Baseball's youth national team. 2nd-round pick out of USC. And from a catcher to a pitcher in 2012. And who was it that he reminded you of?
It reminds me of Troy Percival. You look at the lower half, the way he positions himself, falls off the mound a little bit.
That's a good call.
Why I say that, Troy Percival is one of my roommates, and I saw him when he converted from the catcher to pitcher. And he threw so hard and had a breaking ball that I didn't expect out of his hands. I expected the velocity, but buckled me a little bit. And this was one of my first opportunities into pro ball that I saw Troy Percival throw. And I said, I have no chance.
Hundo.
You see, there it is.
Hundo.
3 digits. That'll open some eyes.
Back to the screen, 1-2 for Ryan Court. Starting left fielder for the Cubs today, 0 for 2.
Last inning, you see Makita throwing the 50s, 70s, and now you're seeing 100. It's a dynamic of a bullpen that you might want to see the different weapons that Andy Green is going to be able to get to throughout the year.
Stock, as we mentioned, out of USC. Earned Pac-10 Conference honorable mention in 2009. On the ground up the middle to the backhand to Aswahe. Plants and throws. Low throw that gets away from Alan Craig. And ends up in the Padres dugout, so they will award second base to Ryan Court. Nice play to start off with for Aswahe, making the diving play, but not a good throw.
I think one of the toughest plays, going to your right from a second baseman. It's that plant foot. You wonder if he got his feet corrected. He pulls that throw and goes into the dugout.
So the E4. As Aswahe shaking his head. 1 out, runner at second. Jacob Hanneman now batting for the first time. Took over defensively in center field 2 innings ago. We had lots of sunshine when we started today. Now the clouds have taken over above Peoria Sports Complex as we play along here in the 7th inning. Still a great crowd on hand today for day baseball. The Cactus League schedule continuing for the Padres and Cubs. The 1-0. 2-0. As I mentioned, Hanneman playing the last 2 innings in center field, taking over for Albert Almora Jr. It's a new outfield for the Padres as well. You got Jankowski in left, Frenchie Cordero in center, and Shane Peterson has taken over in right. Being away for third, Coleman, Dusty Coleman now at short. Luis Torrens in there for Austin Hedges doing the catching. 3-0. And that's a strike.
Well, another one of those battles is shortstop. Who is going to be that backup infielder that can handle shortstop, and what Andy Green's going to do? Dusty Coleman's going to get some more opportunities. Fernando Tatis Jr. sent down. Also Urias. That's opportunities that they were taking at shortstop. Now you're going to probably see some other guys and how you fill that void behind Freddie Galvis.
Runner takes off for third. That's ball 4. Throw down to third is not in time. So Hanneman takes the walk. Stolen base for Court. And the Cubs have runners at first and third with one away. Got a tremendous jump at second base.
Yeah, you see the one look to second base, and Court ended up taking an early jump off of second base.
One out. First and third. Lines one into right field for a base hit. From third comes Court, and the Cubs are back on top again, 5-4.
Playing Pepper with the baseball, you know you have to handle velocity, so anything out over the plate a little easier for the hitters. You see them consistently trying to go into that right center gap.
So 2 on 1 away, a run in now for the Cubs. Brings up Cornelius. Kevin Cornelius, who took over at first base. On the ground to third. Villanueva on the backhand will go to second for 1, on to first for 2. Double play. Nicely done around the horn and started by Christian Villanueva at third base. A run in for the Cubs. They lead at 5-4. 7th inning stretch.
Whoa, Nelly. Yes.
Coming up on Fox Sports San Diego as spring training continues for the Padres will be the Rangers against the Padres Friday, March 23rd at 6:30 p.m. Our next broadcast here from Peoria. We'll have all the action for you right here on Fox Sports San Diego.
I love night games, especially when it starts warming up down here. How about you?
I don't. I really don't.
You don't like the routine being messed up.
No, I mean, that's the whole thing about spring training. It's
Is that Jim
baseball.
Leland?
I don't think so. I mean, it's day baseball. It's I enjoy spring training being during the day. You have enough night games during the season now. It's interesting. The Seattle Mariners are playing a lot of night games down here this year during the spring. Most of their home games are night games. And really, to be honest, I mean, this is not about me. To have the players get ready for that type of routine during the season makes all the sense in the world.
Well, we like routine as well, so
Yes.
don't put us out of that.
That's
yes,
the thing.
It takes it's a change, and you don't want to put yourself in a position where you start the season and everyone's so used to getting up early.
Down the right field line, that's a fair ball. And Luis Torrens is thinking two, headed towards second base. And into second with a double that starts this bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, Luis Torrens has been slowed by a ribcage injury, but him taking the ball the other way, this is really nice. Saw some good things at the end of the year, making some adjustments as that Rule 5 pick last year. This year, probably going to start in the minor leagues, get a base of at-bats and start developing, especially that offense.
So Hedges at second base, rather Torrens at second base to start the inning. And here is Carlos Asuaje, his third at bat, bluffing off the backside. The pitcher, and that is a balk. So to third now goes Torrens.
You're not going to get anything by this umpire crew because it's all veterans. And it looks like that he didn't get around that rubber. Be able to show that a quick step and easily called by the veteran umpire Jeff Nelson.
Yeah, there's a veteran crew. Ron Culpa behind the dish. Jerry Davis, Jeff Nelson, and Brian Knight.
There's Jeff Nelson, who made the call.
They went around, and it evens at 1-1. Zastrinsky back out there again for another inning. Came on in the 6th out of 1-2-3 inning prior to giving up the double to Torrens. It begins this inning. Snapped over to third, and that one is knocked down by Jim Brown, but almost got away. Time now for the Bill Howe play of the game. Goes back to the 3rd inning, and Carlos Asuaje with a home run, an opposite field shot for Asuaje. His second home run of the spring. Later on, single to center field in the 5th. So 2 for 2 as he bats for the 3rd time and takes strike 2. Close pitch. Infield in here, playing about halfway with Torrens at third base. And a liner towards right center field for Asuaje. That's going to get down. A gapper to the track of the wall. Torrens will score. Asuaje with his 3rd hit of the day drives in another run, his 2nd. And this game is tied again, 5-5.
Well, the previous pitches, perfect pitches on the outside edge. This one's a mistake over the middle of the plate. He capitalizes on that, shoots the gap with 2 strikes. Really, the 2-strike hitting today has really come out to play with the Padres. And that's a day for Carlos Asuaje. 3 hits, a home run, a double, and a 2-strike single to go along with that, all against left-handed pitching.
Peter Van Gansen now running at second base. That's a day for Asuaje, and what a day it was. Nicely done. Now it is Franchi Cordero sends this one out to right center field. A gapper. And coming around from second, Van Gansen will score. Cordero showing off the speed, thinking 3. No throw. He's into third with an RBI triple, and the Padres are on top 6-5.
Over 20 triples last year combined. He continues to pound the baseball. Franchi Cordero taking that off-speed pitch, elevated and shooting the gap, and watch that speed. This is a big boy. A lot of promise for him.
And Villanueva standing in and taking strike one. First plate appearance, single to left to drive in a run in the 5th inning. Carlos Aswaje, what a day today. 3-hit day. His pinch run 4, so his day is over. He's doing everything right now during the course of spring training, trying to win that second base job.
Yeah, as you touched on with Manny Margot, I think Carlos Aswaje showed an air of confidence last year that I think he's come into this year with a different presence.
Villanueva well out ahead of this, crushes it but foul.
And once you feel like you belong at this level, and then you have an opportunity right in front of you, you don't want to seize that and let it go. That's the problem. So that's what you're seeing from Carlos Aswaje. Also, Corey Spangenberg has done well in his opportunities.
Slowly hit towards second base. Bodie will flip to first. The pitcher is there. First baseman did not cover, and a run scores. In from third base coming in as Cordero, and the Padres have taken a 7-5 lead. Three-run inning for the Padres so far here in the bottom of the 7th. That brings up Shane Peterson. Took over in right field for Will Myers an inning ago, and now bats for the first time today. Peterson last year with Tampa Bay appeared in 30 games. A couple of big league home runs for him last year. Big league time with the Oakland A's and Milwaukee Brewers before his partial season last year with Tampa Bay. Tardy on the fastball. He strikes out for the second out of the inning. I'll bring up Alan Craig. AAA last year in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, 47 games. Fouled off to the right. Craig has not appeared in a major league game since 2015. Had some big years with the St. Louis Cardinals. .22 home runs, 92 runs batted in, and a .307 average in 2012 with the Cardinals. This one chopped towards short. Young coming in, throwing on the run, and in time to retire Craig and the Padres. The big hits in the inning. Carlos Aswaje with his third hit of the afternoon, and Frenchie Cordero with a triple. 3 runs in the inning for San Diego. On top now, 7-5.
7-5 over the Cubs. Winefest, presented by Southwest Airlines, is back for the 2018 season, featuring $5 wines from local and regional wineries and live music. This pregame happy hour starts at 4:30 before a 7:10 game against the Brewers. Purchase a special Winefest ticket package and get Padre-themed wine stoppers. Information and tickets at padres.com/party. Wine stopper. You know somebody could use some of those.
Phil Maton now on for the Padres. Sixth arm used today by Andy Green. He takes over for Robert Stock. Worked in 46 games last year for the Padres, 3-2. ERA over 4 for the right-hander. Solis, who took over defensively, catching, or Contreras leads it off here in the inning. Well, Maton had quite a lot of work last year for the Padres. Going away 2-1. His first experience in the majors for him. Those 46 games. 3-2 record out of the pen. The 20th round pick in 2015. Yeah. Split time between El Paso and San Diego. Made his major league debut for the Padres June the 11th. Swing and a miss by Solis. Evens a count at 2-2.
Oh, did so well last year in the minor leagues. Got that call up because he earned it. There were some opportunities for him to flourish in that situation. I think the fastball really came into play. He was starting to get hit around a little bit. See the little cutting action on his deliveries on that glove side. I think moving that adjustment period for Phil Maton is commanding the off-speed pitch just a little bit, being able to locate, get some swing and miss, and maybe start having these hitters guess a little bit to his repertoire.
Came the first player selected by the Padres in the 2015 draft class to make it to the majors. Grounder right side. Van Gansen, who's taken over at second base, throws out Solis. Let's check back in with Bob.
You know, Mark, to your point, you're exactly right. The fastball is the bread and butter for Phil Maton, but he said himself, and it's always interesting to talk to guys after their first year in the big leagues. What did you learn from your experience last year? And he said, you know what, I probably went to the fastball a little bit too much. I could have gone to the slider a little more often at times. So that's one of the things that he learned from last season that we might see incorporated more in his efforts this year.
Well, Bob, is it really the cutter when it comes down to it a little bit, a little tighter slider, or is it just different shapes of that to show the hitters a little different look?
Yeah, just to mix it up a little bit. And as you said, sometimes guys can put a little bit different shape, and sometimes it gets a little too round, and the hitters pick it up. It's sort of counterintuitive. As pitchers, we always think that more action on the breaking ball is better. We like to see it breaking, but actually, as you know, sometimes as a hitter, you actually see that breaking ball better. So it's trying to find that balance between keeping it late, keeping it tight, and having something to complement your fastball.
Yeah, I think for the fans out there too, from the hitter's perspective, if a person or a pitcher is changing his release point, even from varying it because of the curveball and the fastball, they will pick up on that. It's the guys that really have a good time of repeating their delivery, but also their release point. You start having a tougher time picking up the off-speed pitches.
You guys are so good at picking up those little things too, Sweens. We don't get away with anything out there anymore.
I had to rely on that.
I was just talking to our audio assistant down here in the next to the camera well here, and we were talking about things that hitters pick up. And it's amazing how many little things get picked up. And sometimes it was the best thing that happened to me is a guy that I pitched against was traded to my team, and he'd tell you, hey, by the way, we were picking up all your pitches. You might even be aware of that.
So you were a pitch tipper? Is that the case?
Something was happening, Don, because I didn't get too many people out, so I'll blame it on that.
Tipping your pitches.
Well, we even heard it in the playoffs last year in the World Series with Yu Darvish and him tipping his pitches. So it does go on. throughout the game where they do pick that up. But I think a lot of people realize too that it's not necessarily to hit it. It's always to take it and get in better hitting counts, because that's where these guys capitalize so much at this big league level.
Daniel Spingola batting for the first time. Guy who saw time in A-ball and Double-A. 107 games in the minor leagues for the Cubs last year.
Swings, to your point with that, I remember my first outing, I was facing the Houston Astros, and I threw a pitch that I thought was really hittable to Jeff Bagwell. And after the inning, I went and asked my catcher, how does he take that pitch? He said, that's not what he was looking for.
Yeah.
It's that discipline of knowing what you're looking for, putting yourself in a good hitting situation, and being disciplined to only go after that pitch. And that's one of the things I think that Matt Stairs has really been doing a great job of getting into the minds of these Padre hitters this year, and one of the reasons we've seen the on-base percentage going up.
There's a strike, 3-1 with 2 down here in the 8th inning. First inning of relief for Phil Maton.
Swings, did you look location or pitch more often?
It was more just hitting off the fastball. I tried to keep it as simple as possible, but yes, I did look location. I tried to cut the plate in half when I was in position to be able to do that. As the count varied and going into more strikes, I just had to open it up and be able to handle that. But I tried to simplify it as much as possible. That is because you do that with experience. Young hitters don't. They try to hit the whole plate. That's very difficult at this level.
Swing and a miss, and Maton comes back to strike him out. 91 on the fastball. Back-to-back Ks. To the bottom of the 8th we go. 7-5 Padres.
Favorite, the Padres in Pet Calendar, presented by Petco, is back. And the first 15,000 fans in attendance at the opening weekend game against the Brewers on Friday will receive the 2018 calendar featuring your favorite Padres and their four-legged friends. Grab your tickets for Friday's game at Padres.com.
Was the barking in the arena, or you just added that yourself?
I actually do a really good dog.
It's so good, yeah.
But that wasn't it.
Oh.
I just can't do it with a microphone, but thank you. I didn't think that was my A game.
I thought it was really good. I just didn't know if that was part of the copy or you just added your own take on it. A little enhancement. Yeah.
Are you excited for the calendar?
I love the calendar.
So do I.
There's a strike to Travis Jankowski. Took over in left field and now bounced for the first time today.
I wonder who's rocking the cover. Who would be your cover boy?
I would go with Eric Hosmer this year.
I would I'd go Manny Margot with the smile.
Okay.
He's got the
He's
big.
got a great smile.
He's got a great smile. Shows his chiclets.
Payoff pitch. That's strike 3. Jankowski didn't like it. Strikes out here to begin the bottom of the 8th inning. We had so much fun with Manuel Margot in center field. We did the outdoor game.
I love
right
that.
center field. I mean, it was like a running conversation all night.
So good.
It was so much fun. He was laughing at us. He was like, at one point we were showing him where the ball was because it was into right center in the gap, and we're both pointing. And
I think Mudd actually wanted to go out there and play defense with him.
Travis Jankowski was in left field, and he said he had to spend the entire night remembering not to pay attention to us. It was really hard at one point.
That's really hard. And you guys are going to do that again, right?
I think so. I don't know where we're going to go this year. Someplace different, I think. Gonna move around.
I loved it, and it was the late Dick Enberg and Mark Grant right next to the dugout against the Kansas City Royals. And all I could remember was Mark Grant asking, I forget who it was, but asked him for a race. He wanted to race him.
Billy Butler?
Yeah, Billy Butler. That's right.
He wanted to race Billy Butler?
He wanted to race him.
Wow.
I don't know if you know this, but Mark Grant's last race was down here in spring training. Way before he raced.
Like a running race?
He blew out both quads and both hamstrings in that race. And I don't think he's ever been the same.
Wow.
That's you got to know when you don't have that stuff.
Caesar strikes out back-to-back Ks. Let me ask you this. What was his physical structure at that time? Was he as fat as he is now?
No, he was slimmer than he is
you
now.
were fat?
But I don't think he was properly stretched. I mean,
so everything just blew out.
It was not a good decision. The thought was there, but it wasn't a good decision. And he's even admitted that. I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to rag on him.
Who did he race? Do you remember?
I don't think it really mattered. I mean,
a race with himself? Or was
yeah, I think it was I think it was Dave Roberts when it came down to it. And that's not good because he's known for his base stealing.
He was going to beat Dave Roberts?
One of the most famous stolen bases in the Boston Red Sox history and known for being a base runner.
Yes.
And you're going to race him. Obviously, he probably had a head start, but it was a complete blowout.
Wow.
Of his lower half.
And he went right down. Dusty Coleman rolls this one foul outside of first. Because he's constantly talking about racing me.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty good.
I would actually like to see that.
I feel pretty good about, I mean, you saw what kind of athlete I am as we had the Padres softball alumni game.
And I'm not taking anything away from the athletic ability that Mark Grant has. He does. He's very athletic. But I don't think he's known for his running abilities.
For a large person.
Do you feel like you need a head start?
No. 2-2. Coleman strikes out. Nice inning. As a 1-2-3 inning. 7-5 Padres.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Well, ninth inning back here in Peoria, and this guy's been an interesting guy to watch during the spring. Carter Capps trying to get back to his normal form. Of course, the Tommy John surgery, the thoracic surgery that he had take place, and a blood clot as well. He's had a lot go wrong from a health perspective over the last few years, but trying to work his way back and working here in the spring. You look at his numbers from last year in 11 games.
Yeah, really trying to get back to where he was. This is a guy that had possessed triple digits. When you're thinking about fastball velocity, obviously the uniqueness of his delivery.
Broke into the big leagues with the Seattle Mariners, 2012, 2013, and some years in Miami, 3 of them. Missed all of 2016 with the Tommy John surgery. Set pretty well out towards left center field, and over is Jankowski onto the edge of the warning track to make the catch for the first out of the 9th inning.
Now the delivery, and you can see it. That jump that I think a lot of people wonder if he's still maintaining that, and the jump has been part of a problem when you start talking about the Major League Baseball and if that indeed is legal when it comes down to it. But Carter Capps really wants to come, and you touched on it, Don, about the health of what he has gone through. He wants to get back to that normal feeling.
I think getting the velocity back to where it was, the high 90s, that the delivery that he had before has been a big key, because when he went away from that delivery, and it was last spring working on it during the regular season, just didn't have the same velocity and or results.
Well, Andy Green touched on it too. When he was in a Mariners uniform, he didn't have this delivery, but also had the triple digits with the velocity. So you're wondering, is it because of the rehab and all the stuff that he's gone through? But Carter Capps has the ability to make this bullpen even stronger if he gets back some of that velocity that has eluded him.
Maton had a 1-2-3 8th inning, a ground out, 2 strikeouts. It was very impressive. To third. Villanueva picks it and fires across the diamond for out number 2. So 2-away here in the 9th inning. There's Caro with 2 down in the 9th inning. Jordan Lyles started this game for the Padres, gave up 4 runs in 3 innings. Breaking ball, check swing, grounded to first base. Alan Craig has got it. He'll tag the bag, and that is the ball game. So the Padres able to beat the Cubs today 7-5. Came from a 4-0 deficit. Nice inning of relief for Carter Capps. We're back with more after this.